So, what if I told you that the best, most powerful negotiation tactics don't come from some stuffy business school, but from situations where actual lives are hanging in the balance? Well, today, we're going to unpack some incredible secrets from the world of FBI hostage negotiation. And trust me, they can completely change the game for how you get what you want. You know the feeling. We've all been there, right? You walk out of a big client meeting or maybe a salary review, and you just get this knot, this pit in your stomach. You just can't shake the thought that, it could have gone so much better. And that's really the fear that's eating at you, isn't it? That nagging suspicion that you didn't quite get the best deal. That maybe you gave up a little too much, or worse, that you just left value, I'm talking cold, hard cash, just sitting there on the table. It is an incredibly frustrating feeling, and it's exactly what pushes us to find a better way. So, where do we look for that better way? Most people think of some high-powered CEO or maybe a sales guru, but the truly game-changing strategies, well, they come from somewhere you would probably never, ever expect. That's right, an FBI hostage negotiator. We're talking about someone whose daily job involves literal life-or-death stakes. Chris Voss, a former lead negotiator for the FBI, he discovered that the very same techniques he used to save lives can be boiled down into this incredibly powerful approach for your daily negotiations, whether you're at work or even just at home. So what's the core secret? Well, it's a massive shift in thinking. You have to move from logic to emotion. See, the single biggest breakthrough the FBI had was realizing that people are not rational actors. Nope. Every single decision, every negotiation, it's all guided by emotion. And if you can learn to navigate those emotions, you, my friend, control the conversation. Okay, let's just break this down. The old way, what pretty much all of us are taught, is all about being aggressive, using logic, and trying to meet in the middle, compromise. The FBI way, it completely flips that on its head. It's about genuine curiosity, about empathy. It's about turning what could be a conflict into like a joint search for a solution. So that's the big idea, but how do you actually use it, right? Let's get into the good stuff, the toolkit, the specific, actionable techniques that you can start using in your very next conversation. First things first, it all starts with your ears, not your mouth. Step one is to just listen. Seriously, there's a technique called mirroring where you just repeat the last few words your counterpart said. It sounds simple, but it's magic. It builds rapport and it gets them to keep talking. You're listening for the moment they say, "That's right." That's the gold. That's when you know they feel truly understood. Then you can start asking smarter, solution-focused questions. Not, "Can you do this?" but "What would need to happen for this to work?" See the difference? You shift the whole focus from no to how. Okay, this next one is a complete game changer. Think about how much time we spend agonizing over choosing the perfect words. Well, it turns out our words are only 7% of what we're actually communicating. 93% is our tone and our body language. Let that sink in. This means your energy, your calm demeanor, even just a simple smile is infinitely more powerful than the most perfect script you could ever write. And here's a super simple but crazy effective trick for when you actually have to name a price. Never, ever use a round number. See, an offer of, say, $50,000, it just sounds like a guess, right? But an offer like $49,750, oh, now that sounds like you've done your homework. It signals that you're probably at your limit, and it gives your number this instant credibility. And to round out this toolkit, here are 3 final ground rules to live by. 1, a bad deal is always worse than no deal. You have to be prepared to walk away. 2, always try to get them to name a number first. Information is power. And 3, remember that 93% rule? Always, always keep your energy positive and open. So when you start putting all these different pieces together, you begin to realize the goal isn't what we all thought it was. It's not about winning some kind of conflict. The real win is transforming that conflict into a collaboration. And this, right here, is the power of what's called tactical empathy. That person on the other side of the table who just seems so stubborn, they're probably not. What looks like stubbornness is almost always a hidden constraint you can't see. Maybe it's pressure from their boss, maybe a super tight budget, or even a bad experience they had in the past. Your job isn't to fight their position. Your job is to discover their problem. That is the key that unlocks everything. So maybe we need to completely redefine what winning even means. A true win isn't about being aggressive or trying to get the biggest slice of the pie. No, it's about being so curious and so clear that you actually find ways to make the whole pie bigger. It's about creating value for both of you that you didn't even know was possible at the start. And that leaves us with one final question to ask yourself the next time you find yourself in a tricky negotiation. Is your first instinct to push harder, or will you slow it all down, get genuinely curious, and just ask a better question? The choice, and now the advantage, is all yours.